I think it goes without saying that I was very excited for this episode. I played a part in the campaign to get this winning the vote, and man was I glad when it did. I may never have played Infamous, but I have played Prototype, and I'm currently replaying it right now. I've not finished Prototype 2, I don't think, but by the end of this year I certainly will have. I'd love to play Infamous, but hey, good job on Sony not putting the two games I actually want to play on the Play Store. I thought I'd have someone joining me today. That's odd. Well, I guess I'll just start without...
I'm here! I'm here!
Merry Christmas, Hyper.
Okay. Hey, it's me, Hyper Starman. I'm the person who started that whole campaign, got subjected to endless torment of coaxing by my lovely friends, until then broke reality and got it to happen. Great use of your powers.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Responsibility I sure felt when I, kind of was sort of responsible for this being made, and I'm sure you all know how I felt.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. I also had a reaction. It was whelming. I don't actually have a clip to play, so this entire fucking joke just doesn't work anymore. We can't review the episode now, let's go!
So, right off the bat, the episode attempts to somewhat go for an idea that I've seen a lot of people suggest for the direction of the analysis. A sort of lost episode of Season 2/2013 vibe.
Except not really, because to say that it even somewhat went for that idea would be to imply that it actually tried. For legal reasons, that was a joke and what we call hyperbole. Here's the definition of that word. I don't think most of my audience know what it means. Anyway, the analysis does do that gimmick once or twice. Otherwise, it's frankly just a Season 10 analysis, but they throw in what they think is Season 2 humor. As the frontrunner of Season 2 hype, I won't pretend that Season 2 is the most exquisite fine art of its time, but it ain't like this, I'll tell you that much.
I was open to the idea, but I really don't think the way they went about it lands all that well. The two bits I actually did enjoy were the That's Right Boomstick, which is peak, and the Let's End This Debate Once and For All, which is a hype callback and fits for how long it's taken for this match to happen.
But they didn't say the weapons are ready and the combatants are set, the fucking cowards! I also like the E=MC² bit, that was amusing. There are a few amusing lines, though almost none of them are directly linked in their attempt to replicate old Death Battle humor. But of course, to quantify that, someone would have to go back and categorize all the jokes featured in the episodes that came out in 2013, post Goku vs Superman. Who would possibly do that?
Is it you?
Yes, of course it's me, you fucking nose. Season 2 only had 5 episodes within 2013. Here are all the gags categorized for you. As you can see, the primary source of humor comes from being a bunch of right proper gibbons. References were aplenty, but only about 2 per episode on average. Here is this episode then. There are half as many references specifically to just the Raimi era Spider-Man as there were reference gags at all in the first 5 episodes of Season 2. Just exquisite. I really appreciate the bootleg YouTube poop part where Cole drops a fat one.
And it's immediately followed up by Goku's muffin button? What does that have to do with 2013 humor? Like, yeah, it's kind of funny the first time for how out of nowhere it is, but then it's just confusing. Why was this even put in here in the first place? Because cringe is charming? I don't really feel that here at all.
The energy I get from this analysis...
Okay, so, I'm recording this off script, but I just remembered how I was eating a muffin during the reaction when I first saw it, so I retroactively liked that scene a little bit more.
The energy I get from this analysis is less, here's a charming little love letter to what we used to do, while also lampshading our old flaws we've grown from, and more unintentional mean-spiritedness. To be clear, I definitely don't think that there was any actual degree of desire to deride past seasons and their fans, but it comes off like the way everyone views those old episodes is solely through a lens of all the negative elements with none of the positive charm. Season 2's comedy was built primarily on being snarky and having playful jabs at the characters. There's relatively little of that here compared to, hey, so this is similar to this other thing in this other series, which is a type of comedy more prevalent nowadays than back then. Hey, what's this footage of Trunks analysis doing?
Although, I only really feel that early on in the analysis. Right where the preview ends, I start to feel more engaged with it once it starts focusing on the characters and their story. Music selection definitely helps set the vibe. I especially love how they set up Alex as what Cole would have become had he lost faith in humanity and turned evil. That was the comparison I was hoping for the most. And they also quoted the line from the Goated Heller that I also personally did in Alex's bio in the G1 blog, which made me happy.
But for all the fucking weird fucking rambling shit they had in the analysis that was actually good, as I said, it just felt like a Season 10 analysis anyway. Most of the stuff that's good in the analysis is kind of stuff that matches how they do their analyses today, instead of how they would do an old analysis. If they were going to go with that idea, they really should have run with it. Nothing exemplifies that better than the cutaway gags, Cole's one of which may be my least favorite cutaway gag just of all time, We're really acting like anyone in 2013 would have had a single neuron firing off to come up with the idea of evil blue Boomstick shows up and says cringe lines and then explodes, and then Boomstick says that happened. Nah, mate. Easy way to fix these cutaway gags? Have these be the segments that lampshade problems with the old era. These could be where the hosts break from the script. I think ideally have an outdated calc in one of the analyses that's just horrifically wrong, and bring it over into a cutaway gag where an outraged whiz brings back the old board of wisdom from the 10-year-old trash pile and redoes the calc in real time. It would be really funny, especially if the redone calc ends up being so meaningless that it just doesn't matter. It's below what they've already given whoever it is. There's even a Cole feat, the multi-continental one, that would perfectly fit this kind of joke. But you know what actually does feel like Season 2 though?
The fight. Oh, the fight is just spectacular. This is the aspect I wanted to go in 100% blind for, and one that I had hoped they would excel in, even with how difficult it was to use Alex in an animation. But they went so hard on this battle. Granted, the models are a bit jarring, but it's like the only available ones they got, and you get used to them as the fight goes on, and it's just an absolute blast to sit through.
I think with the models they did a great job anyway, because, I mean, if your main characters can't avoid looking a bit shit, the solution of just make all the effects fucking spectacular works. The environment and the sky look really good, and wow, do Cole's powers look great. It really works to contrast against the gooey biological nature of Alex's powers, which themselves look pretty good too. Special mention to the bit in the building as the dark, massive cells and viral particles ooze their way back together, transitioning Alex from his Prototype 1 to Prototype 2 evolved look.
And there are so many amazing details that I keep catching on rewatches. Cole building up good karma throughout the battle, and it pays off for the karmic overload finish. The sky reminiscent of the Beast's arrival at the end of Infamous 2. Cole using Ionic Freeze to avoid civilians getting hurt while tagging Alex. Alex turning into his evolved state with the Prototype 2 color palette. Alex weaponizing the helicopters like in his boss fight. Speaking of that, this fight really makes it come across as just one big boss battle for both of them really.
Elements like Cole creating a big fuck-off tornado come across as something he would do if he was in a boss battle in a video game, and Alex takes cues from his own boss battle in Prototype 2 for the animation as well. It blends not only feeling like a tightly choreographed fight, but also the feeling of a video game boss in basically the way I'd want most. But nothing it does captures what I wanted most in this fight more than the traversal of the environment throughout the animation. These two games were compared a lot for just being sandbox games released at the same time where you could go fucking everywhere. These two managed to feel like they go all over the city while not actually needing to have too large a map for this animation. How? Because it's almost all vertical. They keep ascending, meaning they could have a smaller in width map and only need to map out certain higher up areas, helping to save budget without compromising the feel of it all, and also letting them lead into the final bit of the fight being the two crashing back down to where the battle started, going through all the areas they progressed upwards throughout. Not only does the progression upwards match them progressively using more powers, Alex progressively evolving higher up and Cole progressively building up good karma, but going back downwards kinda matches Alex using up all of his biomass at the end, and Cole using up all of his good karma to fucking kill Alex.
Alex feels like a huge threat in battle, using a lot of his big attacks to overwhelm Cole, having control for most of the battlefield, and just generally tanking through most of Cole's attacks because of his regeneration. Best exemplified in the dark building scene, which is the best usage of horror in death battle history. Alex consumes all the civilians within the darkness and regains his strength, briefly giving it the Prototype 2 cutscene aesthetic with the red and black coloring and making it look menacing. Even with the cheesy dialogue, it never breaks my immersion and honestly just matches both of these two. Oh yeah, speaking of, the two VAs for them are amazing. Returning for his third VA performance in a row, Paul, I'm not going to say his last name because I really can't do names correctly when I first see them and it doesn't look like I'm mentioning him and I can't really. Does a really great job with Cole. While he doesn't quite sound like one particular version of him across the two games, he aims for a sort of middle ground of the two that I think quite works, and nails down the mannerism of the character, making him come across as just sick of Alex and his insanity, while also just being very blunt and direct. Though, shout out to the frankly hilarious speech he did in the preview. He was good from the full episode, but I went back and saw it and it's just funny in how it's presented. Meanwhile, Kevin Rivera does an amazing job with Alex. His deliveries of Alex's over-edgy lines are both cheesy and just genuinely really cool, and when he leads into more of his evil maniac side while sounding a little too similar like Dimitri's, makes him feel like a real threat in the fight.
Other standout scenes include, yes, I kinda love almost every single scene in this fight. I guess some highlights are Cole fucking rail grinding down one of Alex's tendrils after the dumbass decided to drop an AoE move in a 1-on-1 fight, the absolute lemon. And Cole parkouring off two helicopters that were thrown at him and deciding to hard counter projectile truck with bioterrorism. Or with something on the smaller side, just the smoothness of the transition between Alex getting yonked off a building to gliding and air doshing back into Cole's face. There's something to be said for pretty much every portion of this fight, and most of it's positive. Like, I noticed in the first half of the fight, Alex is almost exclusively using the whip, fist, and sword powers. Powers that in-game are more designed for targeting and dealing damage to a single enemy, while things like the claws and hammer fist are meant for multiple enemies and don't get used until Alex starts going all Prototype 2. And yeah, in Prototype 2, he does use those AoE weapons in one-on-one fights. And while there are definitely elements of jankiness, it is outshined by some good-ass animation. Things like Cole's spinny neck pinchy throw that breaks Alex out of the ice he stuck him in, just to let him meet the side of a building face first, or just the smoothness of Alex's hammer fist combo when he first goes after Cole post side of building encounter. And of course there's the final clash with the Gigawatt Blades and Alex with the K. What would in most cases feel like the end in Alex stabbing Cole into a really bad fucking spot to stab him, which Alex may have noticed if he just looked up, is instead used as just the lead-in to Cole getting back up, and actually now it's the ending surprise. And it's not just a short 2-hit fight, they do have a proper scuffle until Alex attempts to Inazuma drop Cole, with basically the perfect kill. Cole overpowers the virus, he burns away the armor, he leeches Alex's bio and heals all the damage done to him in the fight. I feel like it would have been really easy also to have Alex just completely vaporize after the explosion, so I appreciate them letting there be a bit left for Cole to finish off after. That was cool.
That final battle with Armored Alex and Gigawatt Blade Cole especially captures perfectly what I wanted from the dynamic of this fight, and is easily my favorite moment. Elevated by the incredible Inhuman, the rap provided by Swats and Omega is really catchy and fast-paced with the backing of a phenomenal haunting orchestra that captures the OST of both of these series, especially near the climax as it just goes in and sucks you into the climax of the fight. Love the track, favorite of the season, and that's absolutely a biased opinion.
Y'all know I'm not a fan of rap, but I can't deny I do like Inhuman, even if they didn't do the naming convention right because all of Human should be capitalized, you fools! It's got a catchy chorus, but listened to on its own, I feel like the mixing is a bit funny there. I like it, it's good, I have nothing else to say about it. I don't know, what do you want from me? An updated ranking of every single track featured across the last 10 seasons of Death Battle after this one ends? One thing I can really attest to loving is rubble. Look at the sweet, sweet rubble. Bits of buildings shatter and explode, bits of ground get fucking blown to little rocks. Even Alex is running up the side of the building. I mean, yeah, fuck this building, it's fucking dead! Look at how Alex shreds it up! I said before, for episodes like Hulk vs. Doomsday, I love when there's just rubble. Bits of what's broken flying all over the place sell the impact of things, and for a fight that doesn't really get too high in scale, it manages to sell the power of Alex while he's tearing up the buildings around him, just by going for a light jog. While Cole gets the highlight of the visual effects in his lighting and how good that looks, Alex gets the highlight of the sheer power he comes across as having just from how he affects the environment around him. Please God, more of this. I love Chosenborn, but they felt significantly lower in scale than these two despite either of them having more power than the entire cosmology of Infamous or Prototype. Speaking of the environment, I do appreciate how they implied the presence of there being more people than we see in a way that wouldn't eat the budget by having to model them. We don't see the people in any of the helicopters, but a combination of the fact that they're in fucking helicopters so we don't need to, and opening with a first person shot helps us sell that they're there. We don't see anyone in the office building, but the screams, the mulching sounds, the way Alex is moving around, it all implies that there are people in there, or were people in there, without having to show us. You could even argue that Alex going for the tendril barrage at the start wasn't really even meant as just an attack on Cole, but again implying that there was more people around and he was trying to eat all of them.
Also, I just love that given the nature of the match and how different their power set is, it just leads to such amazing choreography that's really creative. The air combo Cole pulls on from launching forward and twisting his neck and hurling him into the building is gnarly. The bladed arm versus the amp leading into the electrocution was sick. And great to see that idea from Red Runner's animatic show up. The hammer fist combo into the helicopter projectiles and Cole using his electric jumps to hop around, Cole grinding on Alex's tendril barrage, the armor being a heavy tank versus Cole's gigawatt blades, it's all just so cool and beautiful to look at. And the shocking thing, is that it's just around the same time as any other episode, but it feels longer with the amount of stuff they cram in, and give natural breathing points throughout the fight that makes it more in line with Season 2 than any fight has been in a very long time.
It really does feel straight out of Season 2. Most of the changes I think you'd need to make it feel exactly like a Season 2 episode aren't particularly big ones. Like plenty of Season 2's episodes, it feels like it tells something of a narrative, even if the narrative is just Alex is a big poopy head and Cole doesn't like that so he kills him. Which, I mean, it fucking works, don't it? I think we've said everything we have to say now, right? Hyper? Hyper?
Well, yeah. Except, just one more thing. The history of this episode. the lead up to it with all the fan art and support, and most of all, my time during the weekend of its release with one of my best friends, Rena. Say hi, Rena.
Hi.
Have made this into something truly special to me, and a feeling of joy that has never been this high for me for this show since ever, really. And I can confidently say that even with its faults, I can say that this episode is my new favorite episode of the entire show, period. Thank you to everyone who put in the blood, sweat, and tears into an episode that I knew going in was going to be absolutely hard to pull off. But y'all did great, and you should be proud for what you accomplished.
I don't necessarily know if I feel exactly the same, but this is probably the first episode since Mega Man vs. Asteroid Boy where a personal connection has made me put it above episodes that I would consider better and rank higher. Which is about the dumbest way I can say that this is an episode I would give maybe an 8 or a 9 out of 10 to, that I'd rank above a lot of 10 out of 10 episodes, because I feel like I've been waiting too long for this one. But not so long that it went the Galactus vs. Unicron route of I don't care anymore. This is a great episode, and to me it's an episode that I love, even if the analysis is a bit wank. Oh, and it has a conclusion. I mean, it sure does have a conclusion now, doesn't it? I love how the original version of the episode had the most boring editing ever.
It made Killer Godspeed the slowest character this season that Nemesis acknowledges as being in this season. Oh, and the next time should have been Cole versus Electro.
Yeah, okay, bye everyone. Say goodbye, Hyper.
Okay.
Hyper? Hyper? I think he's gone. Well, that was the review. Bit later than I intended, but, you know, this one took a bit more than the average review, because, you know, there was twice the amount of reviewer, which is roughly about 4 times the length. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I know this was one that, like, a lot of people I know don't care for it, and it probably does mostly come down to the fact that I'm, like, the only person I know who cares about this matchup other than Hyper and like a handful of others. So yeah, you know, I'm the one who has the investment, and I really can't think of many ways to improve this episode without like taking the characters out of character, I guess, to force them to do stuff that wouldn't make sense, or adding in extra shit that just pad out the time and ruin the pacing. You know, there's this extra stuff that could have been done, but I think they did everything they needed to do, and I wouldn't have done too much to improve the episode, I don't think. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed, or didn't enjoy, you can tell me in the comments. Go ahead. Yeah, there's really nothing else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you to everyone scrolling by right now. Oh god, I had something in my throat. Thank you everyone scrolling by right now. Supporters on Patreon. I will be, as like a little update, because it's October now, I will be working hard to try and get the next part of the Iceberg series out. I try to do bits of it as, like, I have time to, but, like, that Speedster video, which fucking bombed in the views, which I expected. That was more just, like, a passion project I wanted to do. That took a lot of time to get done, and now I'm free, and I'm gonna put the extra time that I have now into working on that Iceberg video. Though that said, it is extremely hot right now, and I have minimal time I'm willing to spend in this study I work in during like 90 Fahrenheit degree weather in a place with a foil roof that like makes it feel even hotter than it already is. Still, I'm gonna try my best to get that Iceberg video out for October. I will have like a free 2 weeks, like from reviewing Death Battle. I don't have to worry about Death Battle until the next time is revealed. So I'm free, and I will be using that time to hopefully get as much done with that part of the Iceberg as possible. I would have loved to get more of it done for this year, but this year's been hard. It's been hard for me. So yeah. Also, Patreon transition. There's a Patreon exclusive Discord server where you can go there if you support me on Patreon. This is how that works, and you can make me say stupid things. I don't think there are almost any funny things out of the batch that people have given me this time, but I will try to find them. I think that small coal scream is something that you can't just replicate. And here we have one of the oldest request death battles finally produced. No flash photography of any kind, thank you. I'm getting real tired of your fucking weird, fucking rambling shit. Alright, look what I found in the trash now it's a script for Galactus vs. Magica from 7 years ago. Looks like Alex got the cold shoulder. The winner is Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, I can't do Notwiz. That's such a Who-and voice. I can imitate the inflection, but it's not the same. The other two, as of me recording this, that people have put in, are time hard jokes, and I've elected to not show them. So that will be it for that. That was not a lot. But this review is already late enough as it is, so hope you guys enjoyed. For 30,000 subscribers, which thank you a ton for getting me to this point. I am, if you're unaware, I have a versus series called Not Death Battle, and I am doing a ballot sort of thing where people can vote for a Not Death Battle special that will be coming out next. I was working on Kusoi Saiki versus Medaka Kurakami as a special, but I will put that on hold. I haven't had any time to work on it anyway. To work on whatever people vote, and in a couple days you will be seeing the trailer with the matchups that Huan and I like the most that people suggested, and there will be a link to vote for what you want to happen next. And yeah, it'll hopefully come out before we hit 40k. And by that I mean it'll hopefully come out before next year comes around. And yes, this does mean I will be blasting as hard as I can on both an hour-long iceberg video for the second half of the 4th layer, I think, as well as an entire-ass Not Death Battle. Bloody hell. Yeah, and the next Not Death Battle, episode 3 of season 3, Sharpie vs. Highlighter, that's also being worked on right now. By Huan primarily. That's a Huan episode, which means there's a lot of work I gotta get done. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. I gotta go get a lot of work done and find some time to sleep too, I hope.